Good evening, all. Good evening to everyone, and welcome to the Prodigy Racing Association's Vision Corsa IndyCar Racing Series and the Tuesday Night Thunder. Thomas Cuthbert, also known as Orion, I here with you to bring you this action for Week 3 of the IndyCar Series. It's Season 3, and it's time to talk about the league. What we like to do for everyone who may not have seen the first two races, we're going to go through our league as is all the time. First and foremost, we'll go through it quickly so that those of you who already know don't have to see this for too long. It's a 50-50 mix of road courses and ovals, all in the Dallara IR 18 IndyCar. It's 13 races total. There's an all-star race in the middle of it. It's an oval race, and we'll get to it when we get there. We've got a while until that point, about 4 weeks until that point. So for now, let's focus in on the 50-50 split. $375 up for grabs for this season. This is current information. It may be updated as time goes on. We will see. $130 to the winner of the series, $75 to second, $40 for third, $20 for fourth, $10 for fifth. You get $50 for most points scored in the oval races, which will have to be tracked independently. I'll have to keep track of that and look for assistance on that elsewhere. For now, it's not much of a worry. I think we'll focus on that when we're at about week 10. That might be a good point to look at it. You also get $50 for winning the Daytona Race Prize. It's a winner-take-all for the All-Star Race. As we roll along, it's on Tuesday nights, as mentioned, realistic weather, and we'll get into the implications of that later today. Fuel capacity set at 75%, forcing every driver to make one pit stop for the race. You have to, or you're not going to make it. All tire choices are available, which will be important today. Everyone will get one fast repair because sometimes something goes horribly wrong, and every driver deserves a chance to fight for position, even if something catastrophic happens. Oval races will have a green-white checkered. That's not important for today. The lucky dog and wave around rules are active. That is important. As for the start and the restart, I believe the restart has actually changed. If I'm not mistaken, it is no longer off lead car. It is now all on iRacing green. And so we will get that sorted now. If I'm not mistaken, all of these pieces. Yep, okay, so this is going to change. And restart. iRacing green. And we're going to need to realign this, so drag that right on down to the middle. There we go. Apologies for that. But now you are aware. And so, let's move on to our point system. Qualifying. Top 5 drivers will score points in qualifying. It goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then in the race, you get 45 points for the win and 40 points for second. After that, you'll drop a point per position. You get bonuses for leading a lap, leading the most laps, and for driving the fastest lap on the track. And you get 5 points for leading halfway through an oval race, which will not be important for today. There will be 4 events featuring the double point system. There will be 2, which we had last week with Kansas, 6, 8, and 12. And severe caution violations in either category can result in you being sent to last place provisional points. As far as cautions are concerned, on ovals, they use the iRacing caution system, and for the road course, it's the PRA caution system. Multi-car crashes are going to result in a caution flag. Single-car spins or crashes will not. And if you have multiple single-car crashes taking place at different parts of the circuit, that will not cause a caution flag either. As far as the laps, they will count for oval races, especially. This is important, and the exception will be in the All-Star race. And the failure to yield under caution will result in getting black flagged for 1 lap. If you end another racer's race under a caution flag, you're getting parked and you're being given those last place provisional points. You basically take that driver out of the equation, take the amount of drivers that you have in the race after that, and then whatever place that ends up being, like let's say we have 23 drivers today, if one of them gets parked and ejected out of the race, it'll be down to 22, and that person will get 23rd place points, as will everyone who applied for last point provisions and couldn't make the race. For the race schedule, Road America is today. We go to Homestead, Miami next week. Indy for the road course on the 30th, and then begin October with the Indy Oval. Now, the All-Star race will be in Daytona. You'll have Portland, Milwaukee, Watkins Glen, Iowa, and Laguna Seca before the Thanksgiving break, which is actually very fortunate on my part because I'm working on the 25th. And Michigan will be the final race of the season. Now, for our driver list, let's go through them. We have updated them since last week. I don't believe we have any new drivers that joined the IndyCar series. I know there have been a couple that hopped on in the GT3 series, for example, which is set to begin in a couple weeks' time. I believe we are a week and a half away from the Daytona race in GT3, but we're not worried about GT3 today. We are focused entirely on the IndyCar series. Just making sure we're all caught up before we get to our drivers list, which, yes, has been updated. I can't confirm that. I believe I'm missing something, actually. I am, but I can get that a different way. That is fine. Some suboptimal planning going on here. Who saw that coming? It's happened sometimes. But everything's being sorted out. Good, good. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to need to find a different way around this. Let's see if I can do that. Well, let's do that later. Let's get to our drivers. You've waited long enough, so let's meet our drivers. In the number 1 car is Min Hang joining us after week 2. No, starting with week 2. They were part of the oval race and ended up in a pretty brutal collision with the number 18 of Aaron Fontaine. Aaron Fontaine out for this race, by the way. Borgert Pepping in the number 2 car. You've got Richard Murray driving the number 4. Vitor Guilherme in the number 5. Landon Lacey joins us in the 6 car. Cody Linscott in the 8. Joe Nerton joins at number 10. Austin LeBlanc goes to double digits, driving the 11. Marlo Duncan, Andrew Clark in the 12-13. Jimmy Sallow in the 14. Mitchell Hamilton will drive the 21 car. The 0-25 is driven by George Griffiths, 25 by Adam Miller. Kyle Deckard drives the 26 car. Aiden Hill picks up the 27. Rodney Roberts on the track at the moment in the 29 car. Jeffrey Goodpaster joins us in the number 33. Javier Lopez in the number 36. We'll need to get word on this later on down the road, but I do believe Alex Jones may not be participating for the rest of the season. But for now, what we have seen is we have Alex Jones on the board. And we have a crash on the course that thankfully ends with just 1 car going around. Nick Pollier drives the 55. Parker Dime the 57. Morgan Smith the 58. Oh, did I miss something here? I did not. We can keep on going. Fozzie Fazzillo drives the 61. Byron Bailey the 64. Matthias Martumini in the 77. Jacob Schneider the 81. Daniel Blanco joins the series in the 82. Joey Kuba in the 93, I believe, is also not driving on the track for this series. I may be mistaken on that. We'll wait for more information on that later on. Spencer Torrance in the 120. Austin Diltz in the 144. And the rest of our drivers, Brandon Farley in the 327. Brad Morath, the 384. Once again, I do not believe we have any new drivers or confirmed drivers out for this week. There may have been one late that said they could not make it, but we will wait to see. Well, we mentioned Aaron Fontaine. I believe that was the guy. No, there was another one, and we'll make sure we do get that correct because don't want the expectation of this guy to be on the track, and he's not. Where is he? He might not be in the list, which would be suboptimal to say the least. I don't see him. Oh, this may be someone who's joined the league now, but was not able to register in time. Like joined the Discord, for example, couldn't make it. Let's go to our standings then. George Griffiths leads the pack right now, 1 point ahead of Jacob Schneider. That's where those double points really came into play with the oval race over in Kansas. Griffiths with a 135, Schneider 134. Marlo Duncan third at the moment at 117. Spencer Torrance fourth with 116. Adam Miller picked up the bonus points for leading halfway through the oval race at Kansas. Now it sits in P5 with 110. Brad Morath with 101 points. Byron Bailey, 98. Joe Nerton, 96. Rodney Roberts with 94. Aiden Hill, 91. Brandon Farley starts our 11 through 20 section with 89. Jimmy Sallows picked up 85. Daniel Blanco in the 82 car picks up 69 points heading into today. Aaron Fontaine with 63. Landon Lacey and Nick Pollier tied for P15 with 56. Min Hang with 52 is in P17. Mark Humini, Parker Dime, and Javier Lopez round out the top 20 with 41, 37, and 34. Our last drivers on the list for now are Austin Diltz with 31, Alex Jones with 28, who missed the race at Kansas, Morgan Smith with 26, Fozzie Fazillo 25, Mitchell Hamilton 23. This list will expand as more drivers enter into the races. Right now, we don't have all of them in just yet. In the meantime, we're going to hop on into here, and we need to set something else up. Ah, yes, we've missed something. That's our button. Bingo. And one more thing as well. Turn that, not to that. There we go. We are now set and ready to roll. I don't believe we're going to get a chance to speak with some of our drivers yet, but what we can do is get on the grid. Let's look for someone to watch first and foremost before we just head onto the track. We've got someone. And with that, let's get on over. Welcome to Road America. This is the 27 car we're keeping an eye on for now, who's gone a little bit wide. We've seen drivers have been struggling a little bit on Road America so far. Let's get an onboard view of what a lap at Road America looks like. Following along with Aiden Hill, as you approach the line, you cross it now. You've got a long, long straightaway to go, including the exit out of pit lane. You've got the cone to the left side, which will be your marker for when you brake and when you turn it. After that right-hander, you'll go downhill for another little long while before another long right-hander. The beginning part of the course is, in fact, very straight. Not many turns here in this first half of the track. It does, in fact, start to get a little bit turny the later we go. Braking right before the curbing starts. Looks in, and now we'll go under the Corvette bridge and begin the second part of the track. This is when the turns really amplify. You've got a 90-degree left, followed up by swinging over to the left side of the track to turn in for the right. Go on down here. Make sure not to go into the gravel. You brake before the curbing this time so you can nip that apex. Swing out just a little bit. Head under the Speedville Bridge for the long, long right-hand hairpin. Not a lot of braking. It's mostly coasting and throttle control. And then here, this section I've seen be flat before, and that stays here. With the second part done, it smooths out yet again into a more straightaway section. Let's get a little bit closer. We're up top a little bit early of a turn-in, perhaps, and lost control for a hot second. Then you wrap things up with a quick right and left. Hit the curbing all the way. Swing on out to the far side right before the extra road surface appears. You'll turn in, and that is a lap at Road America. Aiden Hill so far has picked up the 4th fastest time in the practice session. Min Hang currently leads the pack by 1/10 of a second. Get our standings on the board. You can see the time from Aiden Hill. Last lap, a 1:46.4. Best lap in the 1:45s. Best lap of the day. I think it's a 6. That's a 6, yeah. 1:44.622 for Min Hang. I would have lost my mind if that was showing as... That is a 0. Huh. Interesting. We must have missed that. Because the interval is showing 0.9 seconds. That interval is 1.5. 1:44.0 for Min Hang. George Griffith's only 1/10 behind, so I think it's safe to say the competition has, in fact, amplified just a little bit. Now, we are a few minutes away from the beginning of qualifying, so we will wait for a little bit. Let's head on over to a different driver. That one's in the pits. There are going to be a lot of drivers here in pit lane as the practice session is coming to a close. That was a driver. This is Nick Polliard, the 55 car. And so while we wait, I'll try to hop on into here and say hello to all of you wonderful people joining us for today. Let me make sure this doesn't bleed through. That should suffice. Hello, Dave. Welcome on in. Perfect. I believe I can do something a little different. Let's go to this. Here we go. This will be a little bit better. This will help us see everything nice and clear. Perfect. That's what we're looking for. Pollard are now on the track. Pierogi Dave with the Prime subscription to PRA Network. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much for that. And Mr. Turbo, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in, everyone, to the PRA Network. We've got 13 people here today. Good to see all of you. Hope you'll join us for the rest of today. We've got a good old IndyCar race. We are sitting at Road America for week 3 of the Tuesday night IndyCar series. Much love right back to you, Dave. And so as things settle in, most of this section is just going to be waiting for the time. We do have a couple crashes on the board, which could potentially be instructional as to what happens on this track. This is Brandon Farley we're keeping an eye on. I believe this is... Okay, he pulls off to the side. This is him stopping, it appears. Oh, he did miss the corner. It did seem like he was intending to exit the track at some point. As Min Hang, ooh, a little bit squirrely. Good save there, but potentially still problematic later on. Yep, there he goes. And does tap the wall, and that ends up being quite a bit of damage. We'll look at one more from Farley that registered on here. This was about 2.5 minutes prior to the previous one that we looked at. He's had trouble in that corner. That's the second time. Here's Mark Humini in the 77. That's too much throttle on exit, and that's a slide, and that's a crunch of the front wing. And just 10 seconds before this was Brad Morath in the 384 car. That car really whipped around on him, and then crunch, front wing damaged. It's like that sometimes. Let's have a look at some others. We do have Alex Jones on the track today. Good to see him out here. Here in the 45 car, blood red for Jones. Is this him pulling out of the way for a driver? Oh! My, that was not ideal. That was Jimmy Sallow he ended up taking out. Hopefully less of that during the race, as that was... Okay, Pollard registered on a crash board. Just nips the gravel, and once you hit the gravel, you are kind of in for a bad time. As you can see there, that's going to be a big one. Front left destroyed. As Pollard goes by him on that one. Yeah, there's limp it home. Try again. No, it won't even turn. It won't even turn to the right. That one's done. One more crash on the board that we'll look at. LeBlanc having some trouble approaching the Speedville Bridge. Well, that's the Corvette Bridge, excuse me. And he's just all over the place. He's too squirrely. Spins right off the circuit. Pretty much the best way that you can spin. And that takes him out of the way as we are now in the qualifying session. 17 drivers have registered for today. As we'll wait to see who will we have first on the track. Looks like it'll be George Griffiths in the 025. Griffiths right now leading the... Oh, never mind. Try again. Let's go to Adam Miller, the other 25. We also have a few follows to go through from the previous week. We had Avon13 giving the Prime subscription to the PRA Network. Much appreciated. Big B 1595, Amelia 3417, Titan Xerxes, White Sheep 34, all following last week when we were here for the IndyCar series over at Kansas. Thank you all very much for the follows. Thank you for supporting the PRA Network. All the staff members and myself very much appreciate it. So Miller right now on his outlap on the alternate tires. You can see between primary and alt by the ring on the outside. These are the red walls, which mean the alt. A lot more grip, but a lot less sustainability. So this is very much the qualifying tire, and then you'll hop on the white walls for the race itself. And I believe the white walls are usually enough to survive the whole race, if I am not mistaken. I very well could be. So Adam Miller approaching the end of his out lap, and we'll get to see what the 25 car can do. The first flying lap begins. 3 laps to work with, and with this track, you've got a long way to go. 10 minutes of qualifying time. It'll be close to barely enough for these drivers to finish their qualifying time. In between the second and final cone split is when this driver chooses to brake. You look on the boards to the left to determine the braking point. It looks to be about 1.5. Your long straightaway under the yellow bridge. Which one is that? That's the Sargento Bridge. Real cheese, people. One and a half yet again for the boards. Looks like it was starting to wash out a little bit. Maybe a little bit of understeer with the car, which is not ideal. Keep on nipping those apexes. It's all you really need. Hit your spots through the corners. Stay nice and smooth. That's an important part of the qualifying is, yes, some of these drivers are fast, but you also need to be smooth out there. As you can see on the board, a lot of the drivers have finished their out laps, which means they are on the track on their flying laps. We will stay with Adam Miller till the end of his, and then go to another driver on the board. Looks like Jacob Schneider is not here for today, which will actually have quite big implications on his standings in the IndyCar series. Currently stands just 1 point behind Griffiths. This is really going to mess with him, because 45 points up for grabs, and he's getting none of them. Adam Miller crosses the line. His time on the board, 1:46.3. A solid start, and the clouds are starting to roll in. My goodness, Min Hang, 2 seconds ahead of Adam Miller. Min Hang is just torching it up here in the 1 car. 1:44.385, currently pole position. And George Griffiths has sniped the spot with a 1:44.102. So Min Hang has some time to work with, but is now under pressure. And Hang chooses a different approach to this turn. Gets a little bit squirrely, and that may have been an off track. It's hard to tell. But regardless, Hang now sits 3/10 behind Griffiths. It's Lacey Nerton. There's an off track on the board for Hang. It registers as an incident. He's going to stop and reset. One last flying lap for him. He'll have to complete another round of the outlap if he so wishes to get another time on the board. Griffiths right now the fastest driver on the track, looking to secure pole position. And one interesting thing we heard from the drivers prior to today's event, they plan on starting this race single file, because weather reports have been flying in that this is looking to get pretty wet. They plan on forming up around Canada corner, they say. And we'll get our track overlay on the board so you can see what this track looks like. I believe Canada corner is right towards the end. Yeah, Canada corner registers as turn 12, which we are already past. That is the right under after the big. So after you go under the Speedville Bridge, you have a long right-hander. Then you go into the massive straightaway. Canada corner is right at the end of that, as Griffiths has not improved the time. 1:44.248 the last time registered. And Landon Lacey, so far, the best time out of the 1:44s. As Roberts had the caution flag up, as Griffiths does as well. That lap is over. I believe that registers as an off track. He'll keep on driving. There's a couple incidents up at the board. Alex Jones right now seems to be having trouble. 1:53.981 on the board for him. And Min Hang will not be driving for the rest of qualifying, it seems. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers sort out the pace lap. Because if the plan is to go single file until Canada corner, then you've got to be very, very careful. All the drivers seem to want to warm their tires up is the idea. So George Griffiths looks to be taking pole position for this one, and it's kind of not even close right now. Like, Min Hang was the best driver who had a chance at it. He is... I believe he is on the track. Unless that is a car removed, and Griffiths chooses to pit, and we will go to another driver for the remainder of our qualifying session. Do we have another one on the track? Yes, we do. There's Brad Morath, currently in P10. Off of qualifying. And he's done. You can go to the pits, bud. So just having a quick look at our qualifying times, I believe this is pretty secure as is. I do not believe there will be any other drivers giving it a go, really pushing. Maybe Mark Tumini could give it a go. 0.3 behind Marlo Duncan at the moment, trying to snipe that singular point out of qualifying. Those points do matter. Remember, currently the lead of the league is being settled by 1 point right now. That is going to change as Schneider is not here today. And given how things look at the moment... Oh, we had Landon Lacey with the meatball flag, as it's lovingly referred to by iRacing themselves. The meatball flag indicating that there is significant damage to the car and it is required that the crew make repairs to the car. We're going to make a quick equipment change on our end and then be ready for the gridding process. And we'll get ready for Road America. Is the PRA Indy... that's the wrong graphic. Okay, I see we have a problem. We have a minor problem. That should not be there. Goodbye. Okay, that's interesting. Didn't know that was on there. Got that sorted. Okay, equipment change on our end, and then we'll be ready for the beginning of the race. Road America here for the Prodigy Racing Association. It's race 3 of the IndyCar Series Season 3. As it starts to get interesting, the further down we go. Road America when we come back. With that, we should be now sorted and ready to roll. Let's turn that down just a little bit. There we go. That should be much better. Don't want to peek that out. Don't want to be too disruptive to the eardrums. As our qualifying points, George Griffiths does pick up pole position. Min Hang in second. Landon Lacey gets 3. Aiden Hill in 4th. Marlo Duncan, P5 for the start of this race. Remember, we will be going single file. Oh, we've had a change. My apologies. It is no longer Marlo Duncan. Mark Humini has, in fact, sniped the spot. And we're going to get that in now live. Matthias, Mark Humini. Well done to him. He does, in fact, take that 5th place spot. And Marlo Duncan will be starting in P6. And so we have 2 minutes before... I believe the grading process has begun, but we are not quite starting it just yet. Let's get back to the track. Ah, good old foliage. Thank you very much. Oh, interesting. Pace lap is not around the whole track. Look to see if we can get a word with one of our drivers and one of the administrators for the Prodigy Racing Association, Rodney Roberts. And the pace lap has begun. The pace car is away. Let's see, is this TV camera any good? This will do. We are away. Oh, that's not a good sign. That's blinking. You don't like to see. Oh, no. Oh, he is. We've got a problem. There is a driver who's blinking very badly. It's Marlo Duncan. He's not on the track right now. Well, that's a potential disaster. And it looks like the drivers are not going single file like we were expecting them to. But I also believe part of that is because they were expecting to go all the way around the circuit. We are instead pretty much right at the end of the track. In fact, I think we started after Canada Corner. On iRacing Green, Griffiths leads the pack. And we are green flag racing. It's Road America. And it starts with Griffiths in the front. Hang is right behind and wants to go to the outside and really get up close and personal. Hang is alongside. The car is barely to the right side. They are side by side. Hang trying to hang it around the outside. Griffiths doesn't have much room, I believe. Gets through the corner just fine and does. We've got a lot of shuffling going on behind us. There may have even been a crash potentially. But regardless, we are still rolling. This is Byron Bailey with Alex Jones on the inside. Need to be very careful with where that car is. Well done to them, getting through the corner just fine. Hang right now leads the pack. Griffiths trying to get on the outside, and we could be seeing a back and forth battle for first all day long. Griffiths goes way, way wide. Hang just holds that apex and doesn't give him the room to go for it. We do have a crash on the board. Here's Landon Lacey right now in the number 6 car in P6. As we've gone onto the Corvette bridge with Pollard close behind. Brad Morath is registered for a crash and I believe is on the track. He is still here. We'll see what that crash is in a moment. We've still got plenty of racing to go as Griffiths is so close behind Hang. Could be even looking to potentially snipe that first place spot. Behind them is Hill, Marcamini, Miller, Lacey. For right now it's a 6-way battle for P1. All these drivers within about 2 seconds of each other, 2.5 seconds more. And around they'll go. And Griffiths, I believe that may have been potentially a blink on the side of Hang. But Griffiths 3/10 back at the moment as Morath gets by Alex Jones. That is a blink on that side of Hang, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if that potentially causes a problem as Griffiths is so close to the back end of Hang and might even have a chance here. Has the slipstream. Where does he want to go? Well, you got to be careful with what's happening there. Makes the move in time and is now alongside the 1 car. Griffiths on the inside trying to hold it. Straddles the inside and has to eat up a little bit of gravel, but gets by for P1 for the moment. It's Min Hang still holding on to P2. Now in the slipstream of the 025. Now he wants to make a move. Griffiths on the way over. Hang is there. And the 2 drivers having a very respectful battle right now for P1. And we've had a change of position here. Looks like we've got a problem. It's Adam Miller who's in the wall. And is the only one in the wall for now. It needs to be careful on this rejoin. And well, it's not going to have much of a chance. Looks like is let onto the track by Farley. And now the yellow flag has flown. The first caution at a road course here for the Prodigy Racing Association. And it comes through at what looks to be lap 2 of 20 at Road America. So let's go through our crashes. We're going to start with the first one on the board. This is Brad Morath off the start. On the outside, currently behind the 10 car. Everyone's swiping over to the outside. Oh, Morath just gets loose and thankfully is able to just get off the track and avoid colliding with anyone. That is ideal. Landon Lacey in the 6th car. We'll get to the caution laps in a moment. So what happened here with Lacey? Oh! Gets in the back of the 5th of the 20. Is that the 25 of Miller? I believe so. Let's get a better look at that one. Let's go to the roll bar. I believe that is the 25 in front of us. That's hard to tell. Let's have another look. I want to slow it on down. Interesting. So what happens here as we pause for a moment is Lacey's going towards the middle, expecting for Miller to potentially swing to the outside. They end up a little bit in a miscommunication, and unfortunately it ends up in a pretty big collision. One more was on the board. This is Marlo Duncan, the 12 car, with the 55 behind. After the crash, Duncan ends up in just understeer city and ends up hitting the tire wall as well, and that could be catastrophic. The pace car is out, and we will be single file for our restarts. And given the forecast for this race, it is possible that this has made things even more interesting than originally expected. So the lights are on for the pace car. I don't believe those lights are going off anytime soon. And to look to see what's changed, we've registered 2 DNFs and 2 tows as Adam Miller and Brandon Farley have taken the tow. Landon Lacey and Marlo Duncan are registering as out of the race. And that appears to be the case. As we see here, this is Adam Miller in the pit lane for now, waiting for the tow timer to go through. Alex Jones is on the track and is catching up to the pack. Has a ways to go, though. I see. Okay. Noted. Heard even. Let's go to this one instead. The lights are still blaring for the pace car, so I believe we're going to be under caution for a while. Because I think we've got another lap to go. Which is, in a word, suboptimal, but these people are going to have to deal with it. So, first race we've seen go under caution in the road courses. And now we get to see how that potentially affects things, especially with a weather report that is showing very good potential for rain later in the race. Just through Canada corner, we're going to stay single file the whole way. The Esports Racing Canada livery on Griffith's car. We did get to hear from him towards week 1 as he'll be taking a trip to represent Canada in an esports event. And we wish him the best in that regard. So I believe those lights staying on means we're going to stay for one more lap around the track. And Griffiths is headed to the pits. He wants to stop. And Hang alongside Hill will join him. That's Joe Nerton in the pits as well. So it's Marco Mini who will take the lead. Remember, there's no double points in this race. Interesting to see 4 drivers choose the early pit stop. We'll see how that potentially factors into the race as we go along. 20 laps here at Road America. We are on lap 4 of the 20. Those lights are still on. What? Are we going around again after this? We might be. Oh, that's not good. And so, for now, we'll just settle in. We will wait and see. Do we have Rodney on the track? Yes, we do. Rodney Roberts in the 29 car is on the track for today in the Vision Corsa livery. Currently really keeping his distance as we go through the corner. We'll need to speed up a little bit. Don't want to just drag him in and potentially disrupt the discussion. Best lap on the board belongs to George Griffiths with a 1:57.5 as they haven't had much of a chance to register a lap. So it looks like Marlo Duncan is back on the track. Landon Lacey is out of the race for now. Miller and Farley on the track as well. Good to see them still going. Yeah, Lacey is still registering as out of the race, and I believe may not be coming back. So Marlo Duncan's got a way to go and will be a lap down for certain. Is about to catch up to the pack. Here he is. And now he'll start the weaves. The lights are off, so once we get to the finish line, we will be go time as we approach lap 5 of the IndyCar Series at Road America. Griffiths, Hang, Hill, and Nerton now lock in at 7 through 10, right behind Brad Marath in P6. Looks like Farley is actually in the 10th position. Pace car is off, so the focus will be on Mark Camini. He's got to wait for that iRacing green. And we are green flag yet again at Road America. Lap 5 has begun. Everyone's going to register as an incident because for some reason that's what it does. We already have a truck. Holy cow, that is a car flipping through the air. And the caution flag has immediately come out. Rodney Roberts ends up caught in the crash with Marlo Duncan. What in the world happened? Was there a blink? There was. As he tries to go to the outside, does Duncan, a car ends up, whoa, what in the world? What happened there? We'll stay in this view. I want to stay on this one. We're going to slow this down. So off the green flag, Roberts goes for the move on the outside. There's a car in front of him who does the same thing. Roberts goes way, way wide and into the grass, completely loses control and is in the process of spinning out. Duncan has nowhere to go with a car on his right side, ends up colliding with Roberts, and that car just goes airborne. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that because you're not expecting for a car that goes to the outside to be, well, doing that. And just nothing you can do. Duncan goes for a tumble, and the caution flag comes out again. So now the drivers are now catching up to the pace car. Oh boy, this has been a race so far. The drivers will be at full speed until the pace car is spotted. At which point, the caution flag is waving. So once they reach that pace car, then we will be going back down to pace car speed. There is a car who's exiting pit lane at the moment. Which one is that? Is that Roberts? I believe it is. That is, in fact, Rodney Roberts out on the track. And the lights are on. A suboptimal start to the Road America race for all involved, to say the least, as Mark Camini, I believe, has registered the fastest lap at the moment. 1:56.7, the one lap he could register. Which is hilarious because that one was under caution. As Roberts is letting a car go. A little bit far on the outside, but ends up working okay. As Mark Camini found our pace car. Not yet. Still looking for him. Where's the pace car? I know Byron Bailey seems to be having some connection issues as well. I don't think I'm going to be getting to chat with anyone today. Found the pace car. Mark Camini will slow on down, as will the pack behind him. It's Mark Camini, Pollard, Bailey, Griffiths, Sallow, Hang for our top 6. Marath, Hill, Farley, and Jones round out the top 10. We'll get a word with somebody. We're joined here by Aaron Fontaine, part of the crew helping out some of the admins for today's race. We saw quite a few crashes so far. We had an incident with a Lacey in the early goings and then a restart crash that brought out the caution flag. What do you think has been different from this race compared to what we saw at Long Beach?
Good question. We haven't really seen a whole lot of racing to really parse that out, but I think part of it is just on the fact that we're going on the iris and green this time instead of on the leader, and some people are getting a lot better jump than others, and I think that was the case on the restart crash.
That did seem to be the case, and Roberts sort of got forced wide, it seemed to be, trying to make a move. There was the car in front of him doing the same thing. He ends up in the grass, and Duncan just has nowhere to really go on that one. At least that's what it seems to be at first. And unfortunately, we get yet another caution a quarter of the way through the race.
Yep, indeed. And we do have some rain closing in, so this is going to be quite the scenes to watch here in a minute.
Yeah, the forecast, I believe it was it was expected to be like right at the end of the race, somewhere around it was supposed to be like lap 15 to 18 maybe. We may see the rain hit very soon, actually, and that's going to make these drivers in a very precarious situation, if I say so myself. What do you expect to see once that rain starts piling in?
A whole lot of slipping and sliding, I'll tell you that much.
A lot of pitting as well, you think?
If it looks like it's going to be hard enough to maybe warrant rain tires, depending on how many laps there are left in the race. That is up to the drivers to decide, and if it's worth it for them to switch over.
And we are having, it seems like a couple drivers are having some connection issues. We were looking at Brad Morath for a bit. He started blinking, as well as a couple others. Do you think that may also potentially be factoring into some of the moves and the attitude, so to speak, of how the drivers have been taking the track today?
That I can't really say. The connection issues have been quite a lot, but I haven't seen it become an issue when the race goes green. So hopefully that continues to be the trend.
That would be nice indeed. As we have a driver who is slow here. I believe that's a blink as well. Oh, that's a DNF on the board. Interesting. Byron Bailey is currently registered as a DNF, and I do not know where he may be.
He manually disconnected, it looks like.
Okay, so that seems to be a manual DNF from Byron Bailey, which is unfortunate to see. Especially
I'm guessing he left to fix his internet, and then.
That is possible. Yeah, I know Bailey was a driver that had quite a few connection issues when we were at Kansas, including that crash that you're quite familiar with.
Yes, indeed. I think we're all familiar with that one.
Memories. And I know Landon Lacey is also manually disconnected. I believe he will be out for the rest of the race.
Yes, that is correct, it looks like.
We are about to go green. I will let you get back to your admin duties. Best of luck for you helping the rest of the lads. And let's get this race going. Let's stay clean for the rest of the race. How about it?
Absolutely.
Take care. And the green flag waves, and we're back underway at Road America, and immediately a move on Marcomini is attempted as Griffiths really wants to try to go to this outside, and it looks like the rest of the pack is doing just fine. Bailey has fallen way back now. We'll focus on Marcomini. Griffiths already by and is already building up a gap to 0.3 of a second. Minhang right now in third, looking to make the move a little bit later on as some blinks are continuing to follow. It's Morath who's having trouble, and Hill has to compensate for it and play a little bit more passively. Can't be as aggressive trying to attack Morath for that 5th place spot. So for now, he'll settle into P6. A little bit further down, this is Adam Miller we're looking at with Joe Nurton in front at about 0.3 of a second back. So far, no black flags on the way. A dangerous move on the outside, and it forces him just a little bit wide, but he makes it work. That was Nurton on the outside, and it slows him down quite a bit, letting Miller go by. Now Nurton having trouble with Polliard behind, but still they get by in one piece. We'll focus on Nurton for just a little bit. Who's got pressure on him from behind? Now Miller wants to make a move and might have Alex Jones on the inside. That he does, looking to hang it around the inside. Right now, that is Miller with the alternate tires. Jones on the standard. And Jones is very slow and potentially holding up Polliard as well. And so now we are back under green. We are in lap 8 of 20 at Road America. Unfortunately, not going to see much racing as Polliard wants to make a move. It's a very dangerous spot to go for it, approaching Canada corner. Wants to be on the inside, and Jones is going to try it. Is alongside. Can he make it stick? Washes out way wide. Is nowhere close. Luckily avoids a collision, but does not have it. Looks like Alex Jones also had trouble on that, so we'll have a quick look at that. This is the same turn as we just saw. He's on the outside here. Does he end up also way wide because of the crack? Yes, he does. They both end up in the gravel due to the turn, but thankfully, no contact. As we now go back to the front, it's Griffiths in the front with a half-second lead on Marcomini. Minhang having trouble getting around Marcomini. 0.7 back at the moment as Griffiths, a 1:45.6 registered on the board. Best lap of the day. And now we settle on in. It looks like after the manual disconnects from Bailey and Lacey. Well, hopefully we'll get to see Bailey later today. We might not see Lacey for the rest. Is that another blink? I believe that was. That is Jimmy Sallow, who is having trouble. Seems to be connection issues all over the place, which is not ideal, to say the least. Sallow currently 2 seconds back of Hang. Morath and Hill close behind him. Let's get on up to the chopper cam so we can get to watch this battle take place. Sallow, no one to focus on in front. The battle is going to be solely behind. So let's take this chopper and move it on over to P2. This is Marcomini chasing down Griffiths. Has the slipstream. No move to make at Canada corner. And a very clean exit from Griffiths. He's already pulling away. And Griffiths, that is the standard tire, I believe. Is that the rain, actually? That could be rain tires. I'm not so familiar with the tires. As we've got a move currently underway, as that's Jimmy Sallow under pressure from the outside. Aiden Hill has made the move to at least get by. Now needs to hold on to it. Trying to get by Barath as well, but that'll have to go later. Barath towards the back. Well, right now is falling back, rather. About 4 seconds behind Hang. And under pressure from Hill. Just wants to hang on for dear life. That was the trio of Griffiths, Marcomini, and Hang that you heard. And we'll keep an eye on them for now. Marcomini way to the outside and will swing back in. Oh, and he's gone round! Couldn't hold on to it, and potentially too much throttle. And a very dangerous maneuver trying to back up back onto the track. Thankfully avoids any contact. And now the battle up here for P2. Won by Hank for now, but he's having some trouble with the connection yet again. No, that's Marath instead who's had trouble. So Mark Humini ends up going around down to P6. And now Min Hang, the chase is on. 2 seconds back, a 1:44.4 from Hang on his last lap. My, oh my. This man's got some speed in that car. I think it's safe to say that Griffiths is going to be feeling the pressure. Bring that one off. Welcome in, everyone. Oh, we've had quite a... This restart has gone quite well, it seems, as we've got Farley now battling with Polliard for P9. There's definitely someone's having a bunch of connection trouble. Oh, no. Good save by Farley. Well done to him as he almost loses it at Canada corner, but almost is not a loss. Farley will register an incident, but that's not the important part. The important part is he keeps on driving here in P10 on the alternate tires. Back with Hang as he registered a 1:46.2, a little bit slower that time, but I believe that also had to do with the traffic he had to deal with. And now it's going to be mostly open track for him. 1.7 back of Griffiths. Will not need to deal with the dirty air, potentially causing understeer issues. And Griffiths trying to stay as clean as possible and avoid Hang as best he can. In the meantime, the battle is going to be here for P3. Aiden Hill, Jimmy Sallow, and Brad Marath, the focus. Mark Tamini starting to enter play as well, as the gaps have evened out pretty much between the four drivers. We are halfway through this race. It is currently Griffiths in a commanding lead, but Min Hang trying to chip away at it. Seems as though he's had trouble, though, and is starting to lose a bit of time. Both Hang and Griffiths made their pit stops as Hang a little bit wild there coming out of that corner. Now down the final turn. And that gap has increased. Now let's see these lap times that are coming through. 1:45.07 versus 1:45.65. Hang starting to lose time, but it may be the tire compound that could be the reason for it. Hang banking on there being rain for plenty of the race and trying to stay in the race as long as he can without a pit stop. So Mark Camini has lost a little bit of time, now 2 seconds back of Marath. Adam Miller 3.3 behind him. And so we've very much settled into, we've got Sallow in the pits now. So I believe that's his scheduled pit stop. So Alex Jones will be taking P10 as Sallow now enters his outlap. Makes his stop so that he can refuel, have enough fuel for the race, for the rest of it. That is a car off track. Jones has gone way, way wide. I believe that was actually a corner we saw a few people having trouble with earlier. Not ideal, to say the least. But Jones will keep on driving and stay rolling. Marath in this battle for P3, about a second back of it for now. as we very much have quieted down since the explosive restart. The gaps have really formed, and so far the only battle within a second is Joe Nerton trying to get towards Adam Miller. The two drivers about even on their last laps. Nerton picking up his fastest lap of the day in his most previous one. Once again, Hang and Griffiths, that gap is continuing to lengthen. 146.89 versus 146.90. So the two drivers having an effectively equal lap, Adam Miller and Joe Nerton. Nerton trying to chip away at this gap. He's going to get right up close and personal with the car. Let that engine roar. They're starting to lose a bit of time, though. Interesting. Oh, and that's not going to help as well. A little bit of a slide heading towards the Corvette bridge, but does hold on to it. And a little bit wide out of that turn. Just a little, but those little bits do add up. And we've thankfully got to see much more racing on the track after our second restart. Something we didn't get to look at was the penalty report from Kansas. There were quite a few that were on the board that we will go through now. These are drivers that had some trouble and the verdict that came of that trouble. On lap one, Pollard collided in, hit the wall and collected the 64 of Byron Bailey. This was registered as a racing incident off the start of the race. Daniel Blanco hit the 6 of Landon Lacey, which then ended up taking down Duncan alongside Nerton and Sallow. Blanco ended up with a warning, which I believe will not be cleared as Blanco has not registered for this race. As the pit lane has opened, and Adam Miller is in the pits, as well as Mark Umini. Nerton will stay out there and take P4. So Min Hang has picked up his first lap. That has been an improvement on George Griffiths, as we've got a couple caution flags. Local caution flags, I should mention, that have hit the board. It was Brandon Farley on an off track. And this time it is him in the pits. Here's Brad Morath, P10 at the moment. Had a lot of connection issues earlier. We'll be taking P9, passing by Alex Jones, who's in the pits. And will now pass someone. Marcomini ends up with an off track, and he is very far behind the next driver, Pollard, 22 and a half seconds ahead of him. That is Farley in the pits, and that is Jimmy Sallow getting by. Continuing on, Duncan has picked up a warning after contact in the right rear of the 82 car, which took out 3 others. The 25 of Adam Miller was issued a warning for an incident with the 327 of Farley. And then Aiden Hill also had a netcode incident, which I believe that was, no, was that the hilarious one? No. No, that was the, I believe that was the Min Hang incident. The number 1 car and the number 18 were doing some cartwheels. And then the massive crash at the end of the race. With that, yeah, that was Aiden Hill off of Byron Bailey. Oh, that's a car off the track. That's not ideal. Jimmy Sallow having some trouble, gets back on. We do have a crash on the board as Mark Amini has registered for 1, and would you look at that? And things just got interesting. As Griffiths has hit the pit, so has Min Hang, it seems to be. Hang's out of the pit first, as he doesn't need to change the tires. Pollard in the lead, and we knew it was happening. The drivers have decided they want to pit, as Hang wanted just a bit of extra fuel. Pollard on the track. I believe those are the primary tires, and we'll see if those can survive. As that we knew it was happening. got caught a little bit off guard, but no worries, as we have got a wet race on our hands for 5 more laps. Pollard in the lead for now, but Min Hang has had quite the pace throughout today. The best lap on the board for Pollard is a 1:47. Uh-oh, we've got a crash on the board. That is Duncan, who has collected some gravel. Looks to be okay. Well, it's Alex Jones in the pits. Okay, Jones is taking a pit stop again. Marcamini gets by Nerton. That's past the Corvette bridge. A little bit of stuttering, which is not ideal, but still, we're okay. What has gone here? Oh, that's not ideal. That's Hang's got a caution flag out. What's happened to him? Oh, he's gone backwards! Min Hang had a great chance to potentially fight for the lead, and now is fighting for his life to get this turned around. Marcamini is swiftly heading towards him, and that's even worse to see. That is a damaged front wing. What happened to Hang? Let's have a look. Long right-hander. That's the white walls that looks to be. And slides out of control and damages the front left. And ends up crunching the front right as well. Does not hold the brakes. And that looks to be fluid dripping from the car. And I believe that is Min Hang's race done. And now, yep, that car will not turn to the right. So what could have been a wonderful moment for Min Hang returns into disaster. He will head to the pits and likely have to retire the car. What a tragedy. What happened to Pollard as well? He's way slow now. 2 minutes his last lap. I think he went into the pits as well, and that's allowed for Griffiths to take the lead. Looking for the full sweep. Right now, Hang's got that fastest lap on the board, and I believe that's going to stay, so it won't be the full Grand Slam for this race, but George Griffiths holds on to it for now. Still 4 laps to go, as Pollard's got the caution flag out by him. Looks like an off track for him. Ahead of him, here's Joe Nerton chasing down Adam Miller. Wet racing, wet. Man, what a way it's gone. An unfortunate disaster for Min Hang. Takes him out of contention. He will stay on the track now on his outlap alongside Jimmy Sallow. As Marcamini's ended up in an incident, he goes off as well as Hang. Possibly a little bit too much aggression from Hang, as we saw in the crash. As Pollard did have an incident, it does seem to be. That was after the fact, though. Hang does get by Marcamini, who has gone very slow as he's gone off track. And Farley has registered a crash, and yeah, ooh, those tires were spinning in the mud. Regardless, let's focus in. Oh, that's another one. A lot of incidents are starting to hit the board, but all of them single car, as the gaps are a little bit too big for any other car to get collected. Alex Jones has collected one as well as Brandon Farley. Oh, and Griffiths nearly ended up as one. Saves it, thankfully. And will not have a crash as he goes under the Corvette bridge. Whoa. Oh, it's getting really slidey with the white walls. And Rodney Roberts has now picked up a crash. No! Rodney, what happened to you, buddy? I have a feeling this is a lack of grip and a spear to the outfield. Would you look at that? And he's back on. Oh, there's a lot of incidents hitting the board. Alex Jones has just registered a crash. And that car is really slow out of the final corner. So what happened to him? Let's have a look. Farley and Duncan have now picked up yellow flags as well. Oh, that's a tip of the grass, and goodbye. Thankfully, no damage to the car. As Min Hang has registered yet another incident, trying to catch up to Pollard, who is very close behind Marath at the moment. Jones, oh my goodness. The incidents are flying left, right, and center right now. Everyone is really struggling here in the wet. Hello. Nice to meet you, Pollard. Oh, that's unfortunate for him. Oh, man. Pollard and Marath both registered a crash on that one. Seemingly Pollard had the worst of it. And for now, George Griffiths very clear of anyone. Next closest driver is Aiden Hill, 9 seconds back. As we're approaching the end of this race, as that's also a bit of trouble from Aiden Hill, so that gap's gonna lengthen just a little bit more. So Min Hang will get by Marath, who is yeah, that makes sense. What happened here? This is Marath with Pollard close behind. Oh, that car just wouldn't turn and crunch into the wall. And yeah, that's going to ruin the front left any day. Here's Nerton chasing down Adam Miller. Miller was standing at P5 in the standings, will be moving up after today. I believe at least one spot. As Mark Humini is on the board for a caution and a crash. Well, but there's so many incidents at the board. Aiden Hill has had another one now. 15-second gap for him. Focus will be on Joe Nerton. Watch it. Watch it. He lost a little bit of control. And these drivers are very much struggling with the wet. And Nerton has had another one as he goes off the track. Uh-oh. That's a blink in front and a slide from Nerton. This has been quite the race. Lap 19 underway as Griffiths nearly loses it. Just wants to hang on as best as he can. Currently a 15-second gap to Aiden Hill as this rain is coming down hard. Let's see, what's it look like? That's a lot of spray. That's a lot. And that has resulted in a potential problem for these drivers. It's wet. You know what? Oh, that's another one. That's Marath, who is, oh, that's the same corner. Canada corner again, claims Brad Marath. Oh, and he nearly loses it again. He may need to just tow and retire at this point. I believe that will be, yep, that's his course of action. Not much you can do. What's he supposed to do there? That car can't stay. Oh, my goodness. Hill with another one on the board. Roberts is off the track. Welcome. Hello. Joe Nerton has had trouble. Oh! Oh, what's happened here? Oh, no! A massive collision between Nerton and Miller. Immediately, Miller takes the tow. What happened? So Nerton a little bit out of it. Nerton was being chased down by Miller, I believe. He ends up losing it. And as he tries to save it, doesn't hold the brake and takes out Miller. Oh, no. Well, we'll watch it from the POV of Miller, but oh, this is just frustrating as all get out. In the front, you can see him start to lose control, then whip back to the side. Might have been okay, but didn't hold the brakes, and man, that took Miller out hard. And not the chance that he had to potentially move up the standings has just evaporated. And we are, in fact, white flag racing. It is the final lap on the board for Road America. George Griffiths just surviving. That's all you can ask for. It's all you can do out here. His laps have been a 2:01 most recently, as Nerton will start to fall down the board. And he's just going to keep following alongside Adam Miller. The focus will not be on him, though. The focus will be on George Griffiths. The one thing you had to do at Road America in the wet is survive. And yeah, you drive in the middle of the circuit because it is wet out. The carnage, the aftermath of Canada Corner has been passed by. One last corner for George Griffiths. Your winner at Long Beach will casually take his way around the final corner. A little bit of bob and weave, because why not? Unless Karma wants to strike with Fury. No, it will not. George Griffiths, your winner at Road America. And spray for centuries as well. Holy cow, what a race this was. A lot of cautions in the early going, but he does survive. And now the rest of the drivers will make their way around. It ends with 7 drivers on the lead lap. Min Hang, someone who seemed to have had the best chance to really fight for the lead, ends up in a brutal crash, ruining what chance at the race he had. Made it all the way up to P3 with everyone else struggling massively in the rain. As Griffiths has gone to the pits. Aiden Hill will take his time and take his leave. As everyone will loop around the track and finish on up and bring this very, very... this has been quite the race. What's the best way that I could put it? Wet. Yes. One last little push to the line with Roberts in front. And that will be all for this race. So Griffiths is in the wings waiting for later today. Look to see if we can get Min Hang in here as well as Aiden Hill. There's Paul Airdy will finish P4 today. Which one is that? I believe that's Aiden Hill. Okay. As we will wait for our final driver to join us for today. Which one is that? Starts with a K. Ah, that's not him. That was Adam Miller. Yeah, second place, stress in the rain indeed. Waiting to see if Min Hang will join us. I don't believe that's going to be the case. We are going to long arm squeegee so we can clear the windshields. Oh, right, I forgot. Those windshields are probably disastrous. Let's get one in here. Joined now by Aiden Hill, finishing up in P2 in today's race. What an eventful race this ended up being. There was potential for the rain to maybe not even make it. And instead, 5 whole laps in the pouring wet. And it was quite the challenge. How did you plan around what could have been a potential disastrous race?
Well, originally I had planned to get wet tires a little bit earlier, but the rain kind of held out. It was supposed to come around 2:30, but then came around 2:45. So it didn't come when I was expecting it, but I was going to pit, not get tires, and then as I'm coming to the line, it started downpouring. So I just went in the pits, changed my tires, got fuel, and it worked out. But towards the end of that, it was hard, downpouring. I couldn't see at least 6 feet in front of me.
That is very fair, and it could be potentially why we had a couple crashes, including a huge collision with Miller that happened over by Canada Corner. But for your part, I know you had quite a few incidents just trying to survive out there, and the lap times very much show it. Everyone going down to 2:05 at best for the most part, but you at least did your part to survive. What would you say was your best key for surviving out there? And is it there was no one else around you?
I think it was the amount of times that we spread out and how far we spread out, because that gave us time to kind of get our tires warmed up and really get the cars dialed in, especially if we had just gotten new tires, because when you switch primaries or alternate to primaries, the track doesn't enjoy the primaries initially. So having that little room of being able to warm up the tires and the brakes and getting the inner sidewalls warmed up and whatnot definitely helps a lot with strategy and keeping the cars planted on the track.
Right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, primary is white wall, alternate is red wall, rain tire is black wall?
Rain tires white wall, primary is black wall.
Other way around.
Alternate is
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw there were a couple drivers that were on the black wall for a little while for the for the start of the rain. Minhang was one of them, and then once it started downpouring, yeah, everyone just hits the pits, and we can see why. There's puddles everywhere, all over the track. And well, congratulations to you for surviving. We'll bring in our third place driver, Minhang. Minhang joining us after finishing P3. We saw a couple chances potentially for the win, but the rain ends up taking you down, and a bit of an unfortunate ending. But still, congrats for surviving this far. Are you satisfied with the result of today? Hello?
Hey, sorry about that.
Not a problem.
But to answer your question, to be honest, not really. I think I had this race won. Unfortunately, it was the wreck and the kink that did it in. I have done extensive testing about how much speed I could really take in to that corner, in the middle of the rain transition, in the rain, etc. And just, I was probably like, given those conditions, it was just a little below my testing threshold. I didn't know I was going to get loose through there, but the speed I was going to, so I just couldn't hang on. But honestly, I thought I could have won this race as soon as George had his pit road woes. I thought that was it. I just had to bring this thing home, but no, unfortunately not. But we were really fast, so I think that we sent a message, to say the least. That's for sure.
Well, that is for sure the case. After, of course, the troubling performance at Kansas, you've definitely shown yourself as being a driver to watch out for as we go through the rest of our season. Will definitely be exciting to see how things roll once we get more standard conditions on the track. But as far as at the very least the strategy was concerned, you had like the pit advantage over Griffiths. What exactly happened in the pits that led to that being the case?
Yeah, so it looked like George kind of missed his stall. He had to back up, and as soon as that happened, I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm gonna beat him off pit road here. So that's what happened right there. But yeah, overall, I thought he was. I think if we was dry, I think it was gonna be a pretty good dogfight. I think that it was gonna be really tough to beat him. We were both evenly matched. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, and we had heard earlier that the rain had somewhat held out a little bit. Do you think it's possible that if we had actually stayed under green for 20 laps, this could have probably been a dry race all the way, and you could have had that good battle all the way through?
Yeah, I think it'd been really close. I think what would have happened is probably at the most the very last lap would have been a little sketchy on dries. But I think when it starts to sprinkle, you have about 1 lap or 2 laps where you can still run the dries and not be it's not going to be very terrible. It's still going to be relatively dry. So I think if we didn't have the cautions, I know we had about 2 of them. We could have gone through for sure. That burned up probably 10 minutes or so, which is 9 laps worth of running time. So definitely.
And it was possible that we could have had another as well. There was a pretty big crash over by Canada Corner with about, I believe it was 2 laps to go that Adam Miller got entangled in. So it was possible.
Yeah, I think I saw that one, yeah.
Yeah, it was very possible this race could have been a lot closer. But alas, we stayed green. And, well, third place for you. Hopefully we'll get to see plenty more from you, especially in our next race, and our next road race. Indy will be our next road race on the 30th. Of course, have to go through Miami, and I wish you the best of luck in Miami.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
But of course, we'll bring in our race winner, George Griffiths, with another victory on the road courses. A little bit of a sketchy one as the rain starts pouring in, but Griffiths, you survived nonetheless. Congratulations to you. What was, how terrifying was it out there once the rain started?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Terrifying. It wasn't too bad on my side. I prepared for the rain by practicing in like super heavy rain. So any drier than what I was practicing in, I'd be kind of ready for. So yeah, I wasn't too phased by the rain.
That's good at the very least. Although we did see that you had a bit of trouble getting into your pit box earlier. Were you worried that that could have potentially been your race lost at that point with Min Hang's pace throughout the course of the event?
100%, yeah. It was a pretty stupid mistake on my end. I ended up being too far forward and then started reversing. It was too far left, so then had to reverse again and just straighten out in that pit box. But yeah, I came out 5 seconds behind and was kind of thinking it's gonna be over. But then as we got to the kink and I see a car facing the wrong way, I was surprised to see that it was P1. And I actually had a moment going through there as well because I kept it pinned and got some oversteer, but managed to save it. But yeah, I was pretty lucky to regain first place.
We did see you had quite a few moments of oversteer just throughout the entire course, which it's hard not to when it's this wet out and the amount of spray that everyone had to deal with. But you, for your part, did what you had to do. Do you think part of what also helped is that you didn't have to deal with any traffic nearby? It was a pretty clear road for you?
For sure, yeah. I definitely tried to maximize my pace car restarts, and I think I did that. Managed to start in first gear for all of them and get an incredible launch for both of them. And yeah, just tried to stay clear and get clean air as fast as possible.
Now, especially with those two cautions that we had, it was very possible with the way that the rain played out. This could have been a dry race pretty much the whole way. Do you think that you would have had a much tighter race potentially with Min Hang if we were able to stay dry for the entire event?
I think so, yeah. I didn't do much practice in the dry, so wasn't very prepared for that. I was expecting a rain race the entire time, but we seemed to be pretty close on pace in the dry. So yeah, I was expecting a good race if it stayed dry the entire time.
Well, hopefully we'll get that good race when it comes to September 30th. We'll be heading to the Indy Road Course for that one. But of course, first we must survive Homestead, Miami next week. So Griffiths, congratulations on your second win here in the IndyCar Series, and a best of luck to you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And that will be all for us here. Once again, one more time, Road America concludes, which means our next race, Homestead, Miami, on the 23rd. Griffiths will pick up the 45 points from today. Also, we'll get the bonus for, I believe, leading the most laps. But our fastest lap goes to the number one car, who will pick up a clean 40 on his part. Griffiths also getting the 5 points from qualifying. Homestead, Miami will be our next event as we go back to oval racing. And then it'll be the Indy Road Course, a much anticipated event as we get to hopefully see a drier event. And in that regard, hopefully a much closer battle between the 1 and the 025. That is all for us here for the Vision Corsa IndyCar Series. Thank you all very much for joining us. We'll see you next week as we go to Homestead, Miami.